Thank you, Olivia. Yes, there is no doubt that climate change is one of the greatest challenges of our time. And the concern and demands for action keep mounting. After all, our health is proportionate to planetary health. Let me tell you, there is no vaccine for a sick planet. So the time to act is now. Our next guest has dedicated his life to finding innovative solutions and technology that tackle climate change. In fact, he made history becoming the first man to fly nonstop in a hot air balloon and also to fly all over the world as well with a solar-powered airplane. I'm honored to be joined today by Bertrand Piccard. A round of applause, please. Now, Bertrand, for over 20 years, you've been the president of Solar Impulse Foundation, which focuses on supporting those pioneering sustainable solutions. The goal has been to bridge the gap between economy and ecology. What has inspired you to initiate this journey decades ago at a time when climate change was more of a silent topic?
You know, Solar Impulse is the latest of my commitments because originally I'm a medical doctor. Maybe this is why I'm at the Geneva Health Forum also. My main concern is about quality of life. And this is why after the flight of the Breitling Orbiter 3 balloon around the world, I used the financial and fame coming out of it to create the Winds of Hope Foundation, which was committed to fight against an absolutely horrible sickness. It's called NOMA. And it happens to very young children in the poorest countries of the world. It starts in the mouth and makes a huge gangrena and necrosis of the face. And when you see this, you really want to do something. So I initiated the Winds of Hope Foundation to contribute to work against that sickness. And we had today the General Assembly and projected a film. It's a bit a neglected sickness. It is so neglected that it's not listed at the World Health Organization, and that the film that we showed was not even showed here in the main stage. It was shown in a little room where almost nobody knew that it happened. So this is the reality of a neglected sickness, and this has been also my commitment for a long time. Now, if we speak of environment, it's clear that environment has a huge link to health. And usually we speak of climate change in terms of biodiversity, in terms of energy, in terms of waste, in terms of economy, but it's also pollution. And pollution is killing, just air pollution is killing 8 million people per year, plus the pollution of water, plus the pollution of the soil, plus all this. So it's clear that the environment is absolutely central. And this is why with the Solar Impulse Foundation today, I am committed to bring solutions to protect the environment. But when you want to protect the environment, you cannot just come and say to everybody, you have to change all your behaviors, stop to consume, degrow, and so on, because nobody will listen to you. And this is why I have been working with my foundation on identifying solutions that can reconcile ecology and economy. That means that can protect the environment and at the same time create jobs and be economically viable for the industry, the economy, and the financial world.
So, Bertrand, your foundation, has identified over 1,000 clean and profitable solutions. What are the most unheard initiatives, but also crucial in the fight for climate change that you consider groundbreaking?
I believe that the groundbreaking solutions today are the ones that allow us to be more efficient. What does it mean, more efficient? It means that until now, we have been in a world that wants to produce more, consume more, waste more, pollute more, and think that it's the only way to proceed to be profitable, which is obviously a dead end. It doesn't work like that. So all the solutions that we have identified allow to do the opposite. It means it allows to develop the economy and create jobs, but at the same time, be so efficient that we need less resources, less energy, less waste, less pollution in order to have access to an even better result. So I just give you an example. There is a solution we have identified. It's a startup in France. It recovers the heat from the chimney of the factories. And this heat is recycled in the factory. It's 20% reduction in the energy bill of the industry. It's less CO2. It's less energy, it's less weight, and it's a business opportunity for a startup that is now expanding and creating jobs. Everything is like this. You know, everything today, if it becomes more efficient, will be more environmental friendly, and will be a good solution and a business opportunity for the industry. So this is what I call...
to good health at the end as well.
And it improves the health of everybody. So this is what I call qualitative growth. You develop the economy by replacing what is polluting by what is protecting the environment. So you can reconcile ecology and economy. It's really important because until now, they were fighting together. The Greens and the industries were not really wanting to speak together. They were just criticizing each other. But both are important. You need the green activists to move forward, to push the politicians, and you need the industry to produce the solutions that will help us to live in a more efficient way and more environmental friendly.
Now, speaking about politicians, just last week, the European Commission announced the 100 EU cities that will participate in a program to become climate neutral by 2030. Globally, urban areas account for more than 70% of CO2 emissions. What do you think about the recent actions taken by governments around the world, and how can they keep doing more to produce less?
The IPCC report was very clear. On one side, they said what they have always said. It means we have to hurry up. But they added another thing, another chapter, which is the obstacles for change. And what are the obstacles? The IPCC was courageous enough to name them. It is bad leadership, it is wrong governance, and it is the inertia of the administrations. Very, very clear. Which means that if we don't push the governments to act, it will never happen anything. And the EU is much more ambitious than a lot of national governments, maybe because the elections are not directly by the people. So there is a step between. It allows them to be more independent from the public opinion. And this initiative of the New Green Deal, I believe, is excellent because it is supporting the clean industry, or the cleanest industry to grow. And also, of course, this new initiative from Frans Timmermans to have 100 cities neutral by 2030. Okay, so now you have the goal, but how do you do it? And this is where we are working also with the EU in order to bring the practical solutions. How to be carbon neutral in 2030. Very, very practical solutions in the field of agriculture, of industry, of mobility, energy sources, construction. All these type of things have to be addressed at every level. And you cannot, this is really interesting, you cannot just take the big problems and find solutions. It doesn't work because most of the problems are not identified correctly. So you need to do the opposite. You need to go through the solutions and look which solution can be implemented where. And each time you reduce a little bit of CO2, a little bit of inefficiency, a little bit of pollution, but all together you can solve the problem.
Now, like you said before, you're a doctor, specifically a psychiatrist, right? Yeah. So for many years, you've studied the human brain, and you were able to obtain answers to change our habits for the sake of our planet. Is that right?
You know, there is one word you have just pronounced that brings a lot of fear to everybody. It's the word change. As a psychiatrist, I can tell you that people are using all their energy not to change. And when there's a crisis, they come to the psychiatrist and say, look, my life is a disaster, but I don't want to change anything. Help me to recover what I lost, because I want to recover exactly what I had before. So each time you say change, you lose. And when the Greens activists are saying we have to change behaviors, there's a big reluctancy.
It sounds like too much work.
So I started to stop using the word change in order to use the word modernize. If you say change everything, doesn't work. Modernize everything, wow, people are proud. They're becoming modern. So you have to modernize all the infrastructures. You have to modernize all the energy sources. You have to modernize the way to construct buildings. You have to modernize mobility. And then people will follow you. But if you say change the behaviors, it's useless. I don't think people want to change their behaviors. Or maybe the rich people, yeah, that's a luxury. Maybe if you already have too much, you will say, yes, of course, I will renounce a little bit. Yeah, I will take the airplane only 3 times a week instead of 4. But it doesn't change the world. Now, speak to the 90% of the world that has not enough to live. What are they going to tell you? They don't want to renounce to anything. They want to reach our own level of development. They want to be like Europe and North America. So you need to tell them that they can use the new technologies, they can use efficient systems, they can use renewable energies in order to have a local economical development that will bring jobs, that will make them feel better, that will help them to have enough to eat, to have access to electricity, to have enough comfort. And then you can make an alliance with them. Otherwise, they will just laugh at you and say, what? You are causing the climate change and you want us, developing countries, to stop to develop. It will never work. Right. So a lot of the solutions we have identified allow a clean development of the poorest countries.
So we have to start looking for synonyms of change then. Modernizing, reinventing, probably using these words that are
It's a new narrative. It's a new narrative. We have to go from protection of the environment is threatening our lifestyle, expensive and boring, to a narrative where protection of the environment is exciting, profitable, job-creating, and federating and modernizing. Yeah? Yeah, it's a question of narrative, because we need to take people with us, otherwise they will not follow. They will resist.
It is true. Now, we're coming to an end of this discussion, so my last question for you, is there anything specific that you're working on in your organization, Solar Impulse, or in your efforts as a doctor to reinvent global health in a time of global change?
Well, I cannot reinvent global health. There is a forum for that. there is the World Health Organization. But there is one thing we're working on now. It's to finally have this horrible sickness of NOMA been officially registered as a neglected tropical disease by the World Health Organization. Mm-hmm. In the last 20 years, it has not worked. Now we're working with Médecins Sans Frontières, with a lot of countries. Nigeria has officially submitted this request to the World Health Organization, and we're working to support this, because at the moment it will be recognized officially as a neglected sickness, then everything will be easier. Then there will be health policies in the countries where there is NOMA, there will be prevention, there will be a real action at global level, not only at local level as we've done until now. So we did as much as we could until now, but we need this decision of the World Health Organization, and this is what we're working on, in addition to the Solar Impulse action with solutions for climate change, or against climate change.
Well, thank you so much, Bertrand. Now, we're going for a short break, but not before. Again, another round of applause to Mr. Piccard over here.
Thank you.